skill uses a different amount of initiative. So a big part of thief combat is using their movement skills to get in, do a bunch of damage, and get back out again before they get into any trouble. They have skills like roll for initiative, where they roll backwards and get all their initiative back, which allows them to use a bunch of their attacks all over again.
Awesome. Yeah, and with the dagger pistol combo that they have, you know, it caters really well for being inside and outside of combat and swapping those weapons from, you know, double daggers or a pistol dagger combo back to double pistols to, you know, take advantage of the range that you're able to create in combat while you're dynamically moving around using the environment to your advantage.
The other thing that thieves have, which is their hallmark, why they're called thieves, is they can go in and steal items off their opponent and then use them against those opponents. He basically stole, he got knocked out, but he basically stole a bottle off the pirates, and he basically could use it. It becomes another environmental weapon, which allowed him to, you could drink it for more health, or you could throw it at someone. You can basically go up to a moa, and you can steal its feathers, and then you can blind them with it. You can go up to an oakenheart, one of our big tree creatures, and steal a branch off it, and then beat it with it. So this is basically gives a random feeling to the potential for the thief, in the fact that they can basically pick up something from their foe and then utilize it against. They don't know what it's going to be. It's one of a group, but
does every class have a unique ability?
Yes. Every profession has its own unique way of doing it. The elementalists switch between the various elementals, for example. The guardian has virtues, which are buffs which help him or which he can spend to help his allies.
I got it. Soul buff.
Oh, that's
Oh, awesome.
okay. Yeah. And one last piece, which we'll wrap it, is when players are playing in the same area, they can work together. You can basically have an elementalist to lay down a line of fire, and our thief can fire bullets through that line, and they catch on fire and set the opponent aflame. Okay? A necromancer lays down a poison cloud. You can fire a bow through it. They pick up the disease on their way through. All of this is basically to encourage players to be stronger together than they are apart, and to encourage them playing together. They're not suffering; they're benefiting from being in the same fight.
So right there, even when I was down, I used my down skill, which was the ability to throw a dagger at my opponents. Even the dagger that I was throwing caught on fire.
We've just got a few minutes left.
Is there a clear indicator to see when those spells are having that synergy? Like, aside from more damage?
As you see it from the effect, you see if the enemy gets caught on, he gets the flaming animation, for example.
Yeah,
so much. Go ahead.
There's a bunch of different things you can shoot through and that you can combo together too. So we talked about guardian symbols or things that you can gain buffs if you stand inside them, or fire shots through them. There's electrical fields that you can shoot projectiles through, and if you hit a guy when they do that, they'll like get electrocuted and go like this. There's some very clear visual symbols in the game world to help communicate that you've gained those benefits.
Yeah, but much like how, you know, a lot of the games have been designed to be very visual, very intuitive, combat's that same way. It's something where you're actually playing, you know, in throughout the world, and you're not, you know, playing against, I guess, a UI. You're actually seeing it, you know, visually experiencing it. So it's very natural to be shooting through, you know, whether it's arrows or bullets through those walls of fire to, you know, enhance your attacks.
You're seeing opportunities, and the opportunities are coming out of the combat. I'm not watching some gauges along the side of the screen. I'm basically watching what's happening on the screen.
Are we going to see a customizable UI?
We're still playing around with a lot of UI elements, and we're going to handle that stuff too. I think our first goal is to make the base UI that everybody uses a UI that is strong enough that you would not generally want to do too much customization to it. Obviously, there are people who want to customize stuff still, so we'll play around with exactly how we want to handle that. But we definitely want to get a sense that the main UI is really solid and clean and neat and keeps you focusing on watching what's going on in the game world.
Do you have any ideas of end game content? I mean, as soon as the game comes out, I know that people will be spending loads of time in there. So
yeah, we have a lot of different layers of end game content. How are we doing on that?
We're right up against it.
Okay.
But the idea is what we've discovered as we play the game ourselves is that everyone has different playing styles. They interact with MMOs for different reasons. It's PvP or PvE, or you like running a support character, or you have social interaction, or you want to go out and beat up monsters. All of these are part of a larger story. All of these are approaches that we look at and we are bringing forward when we're playing the game. So we will see a lot of variety in the game itself.
Yeah, and there are end-game dungeons that are 5-man
Right.
difficult instances. There's a story version of dungeons, and when you defeat the story version, it unlocks a repeatable version of that dungeon.
Yep.
And those repeatable versions of dungeons have different branches you can play through and experience completely unique content in each branch.
And they're much harder.
Yeah,
So they're for the people who really want to basically take the dungeon experience.
Yeah, there's two layers of PvP. If you want to make new characters, you can go back and experience all sorts of different unique personal story chains. So there's a lot of replay value. You can go to all the different high-level event maps and play through all the different events. And because the map might be different every time you go there, there's a lot of replay value in that. So we try to layer in a whole lot of different replay content all through the game, and a lot of high-level content that comes available to you that way.
Also, just to return to the point that we were making earlier about the difference between participation and completion, you'll notice that even though I abandoned that event before it was completed, because I was part of it, I didn't have to see it through to the end. I just had to help out. I put out 2 or 3 fires, and I, took care of 2 or 3 bandits, and therefore I get full participation for doing it. I don't have to go and turn it into some guy after getting the required number. I just have to be
If he
part
just
of
took out
it.
one, he probably would have got a bronze. If he ran through it and didn't do anything, he would not have, it wouldn't have registered for him. It's all about the participation.
All right, I think that's all we have time for. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.